Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Zwift Racing League Kick and Sprint Stage 2, which is the Glasgow Crit Circuit, which is a 3-kilometer circuit with 6 laps. And there is a climb right in the middle. It's a pretty steep climb, so lots of power there. I'm expecting a lot of attacks during that time. And then there's a sprint right at the end. At the beginning of the race, I was a racing score 252, competing in the 270 to 390 racing score category. And there were, I believe, 22 riders. So let's take a look. So this is the beginning of the race. Again, 6 laps, pretty short laps, with a climb right in the middle. There's going to be a proper sprint. So my focus on these laps, each one of these laps is right here, these 2 climbs. That's where a lot of the attacks I believe are going to happen. And then possibly the climb afterwards. So first lap I'm just looking and see how everybody's responding. And then I just stand up here, just try to stay with the lead. Right after that climb, there's a descent, so you definitely want to stay behind the rider because you save a lot of power going downhill behind the rider. And then right afterwards, there's this climb. The faster you're going, and the more you're using draft, the easier it's going to be to go up here. Lap number 2, I'm experimenting with the feather to see where's the best place to use it. And I believe really is the best place would be on that first climb, during the first climb, not this late. But I was just experimenting to see how, I was thinking maybe I could use it on the next climb, but I realized that it was too ambitious. Lap number 3, I used it a little bit earlier. I think this is the right way to use it. I gotta time this feather a little bit better. At this point, everybody's realized this is where you use the feather. It's the most critical part of the lap, very clearly. That's good. And my goal is to make sure these guys don't break away, so I kind of try to get close. Like I said, the uphill here is very useful if you're going fast and drafting behind somebody. Then you can really rocket yourself up the climb. I think I do that this lap. So you really gain a lot of ground. On lap 4, I'm experimenting a little bit with invisibility. I really don't think this is a very useful power-up. I think there are some use cases. I was thinking to use it at the end to break away a little bit early because I have a pretty decent 1-minute power. But I wasn't too sure, so I was just experimenting a little bit. I believe it was on this lap where I noticed that somebody's gone invisible and gone for an attack. You can see another one right there, so I decided I was gonna go and attack too. And hope for the best. And you can kind of tell that your guy is drafting. Like you see he's standing up, that means somebody's in front. And I was right. That was a pretty good guess that I had. Of course, you know, we're still lap 4, so it's not gonna matter too much. But I think it was interesting to see that your avatar stays drafting, even though they're invisible. So this is lap 5. This is really where I expect to start seeing serious attacks and breakaways. So I'm very, very careful about it from here on out. Really trying to pay attention to who's pushing forward, who's trying to go for attacks. Because it's kind of more manageable to go for one lap on a breakaway. Not for me, but there are some people who have really, really good pace. So I'm really looking out. Making sure I don't get dropped here. This is a critical part of the race. I had the invisibility. It's not very useful, but I thought I would use it at the end, and there's no point really to use it here. Maybe I could go for a feather, but I was like, let's just see if I can use it. So I push pretty hard here, making sure I don't get dropped, because I really want to get a decent position there at the end. To be honest, this is a pretty decent group. Not a lot of people here, so either way, even if I didn't do too well, I would be happy with this sort of result. But I wanted to see if I could squeeze every single position possible. So my goal here is to use the ghost, the invisibility. Not here, but a bit later. There's a descent, and then there's a climb, and using that climb. So about 0.4 miles from the end, and go for a pretty long sprint. So I'm gonna let some people pass. Sit in draft for a bit. And here everybody's getting ready. I mean, it's pretty obvious we're gonna go for a sprint. So my goal here was to use the invisibility to pass people, probably get ahead. But one thing I didn't notice, invisibility really doesn't last that long. In my opinion, it should last longer because it's really not that useful. So it'd be nice if it lasted longer to actually make a real breakaway. But everybody else is pushing anyway, so ended up not really changing much. But I'm pushing pretty hard. Now the previous race, I pushed too hard at the beginning and got in front of people, and then they drafted me and passed me. So I did not want to do this race. So what I did is I tried to stay as close as possible to these two. The guy ahead is just gone, so I'm just gonna ignore that. So I sit behind the second place. I see this guy try to pass. And that's where I start pushing even harder and try to pass. And to my surprise, I actually get second place.
My legs. My legs. My legs are in pain. Hell yeah.
So I ended up placing second place with 2.93 watts per kilo, which is my new record, I believe. My 15 seconds, 6.48. I didn't push as hard as I could because I was trying to stay in draft with the second place and then pass him at the end, which worked out very well. But really good result. Honestly, this is really good. My racing score was 250, I can't remember, 252. And it went up to 263, so it went up 11. Which is a decent amount, considering usually it doesn't go up very much. So this is good. 263 is still below the minimum of this category. Even though I'm placing second place, I'm still below the minimum. I don't get it, but it's okay. I'm happy. I mean, this was a really, really good result for me. I'm very happy, especially considering last week I got passed by 3 people on the final sprint, and I learned from that lesson and I used it here, and I stayed in draft rather than trying to pass ahead. I stayed in draft, I was patient, and then I pushed. So I'm really, really happy with how I managed it. I don't think I could have done anything better. I mean, maybe get a feather instead of the invisibility at the end. But I wouldn't have gotten first place. First place was over 3 seconds away. There's no way. So I'm really happy. I think this is the best I could have done. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, feel free to comment. And I'll see you in the next one. Right on.